I figure maybe someone might want to watch me do an interview like this. Your plane lands with plenty of time to spare. The final leg of your journey is a ferry that goes directly into the tropical island where you can finally start your vacation. As you reach the waiting area to board the ferry, you realize you're so early no one else has even arrived yet. You're going to model the process people choose or abandon their seat in the waiting area. You're pretty sure you can pick the best place to sit. You make a quick map of the seat layout, your puzzle input. It fits neatly on a grid. Each position is either a floor, empty seat, or an occupied seat with a hash. For example, the initial seat layout might look like this, with a bunch of L's. The dots are floors. May even model the people who are arriving shortly. Fortunately, the people are entirely predictable and always follow some set of rules. All decisions are based on the number of occupied seats adjacent to a given seat. One of 8 positions. Okay, so there's 8 position adjacency, and all decisions are based on, and the following rules are applied to each seat simultaneously. If it's empty and there are no occupied seats next to it, it's occupied. If it's occupied and there are 4 more seats adjacent to it are also occupied, it becomes empty. So you leave if there's too many people around, otherwise it doesn't change. Floor never changes, seats don't move, and no one sits on the floor. After one round of these rules, every seat in the example layout becomes occupied. Second round, 4 more adjacent leave. Process continues for 3 more rounds. At this point, something interesting happens. The chaos stabilizes, and further application of the rules cause no more seats to change state. You count 37 occupied seats. How many seats end up occupied? Okay. So this is a lot like a problem that it's not a problem per se, but there was a toy that I had as a kid that was like a grid, and you would press buttons on the grid. I think it was called Lights Out, and the goal was to like change all the lights to be out, which was kind of fun. But it's a state-based problem. Okay, we're gonna do AOC 11.ruby. We're going to use their example input rather than my example input just to try and get a good test case. This Ruby file, I almost always start in Ruby by just reading all the lines, start with 11. These ones are not going to be. Okay. So what's the best way to do this? We could do a map from coordinates to state. We could do a two-dimensional array. A two-dimensional array might be easiest, and we'll want a function that looks up. Basically, we want a function that looks up where you are currently as a seat and does your state change based on the previous state. So it's going to be a function of def new seat state given all the seat states and x and y. So what is seat states? Seat states is going to be, I think, an array of a two-dimensional array of characters. So it'll be kind of like input.readlines split by dot map. Each line goes to that. So if we open up our Ruby here, do a little bit of testing. Oh, I named it with a dash instead of not with a dash. Oops. Okay, this is going to bug me if I don't rename these. Sorry. Dash input and now they're all in the correct order. Maybe to C. Don't shut down my headphones. That's bad. Split string Ruby. I know there's some command for this. here's string. Okay. Chars, is that it? Returns an array of string. Okay. Dot chars. Don't know why it's not 2C or something like that, but you know. Okay, and this is printing out like this because it's a weird formatting, but if I did something like this dot map um, then this should get, yeah. So now there's a comma between everything. This makes sense. Okay, so I think I got the data structure correct for what I want. And then given a new seat state, the rules are if it's, where are you? It's empty if there's no occupied seats adjacent to it. It becomes occupied if there's 4 more adjacents, otherwise. Okay. So really I want def count occupied adjacents given all the seat states and an x and y coordinate. So for each of these, I want to count two. So I'm going to just like take the jitters -1, 0, 1, map them across the coordinates. Now that's annoying. The fact that we have, it's a little bit annoying because I need to account for if x and y are 0 or if they're equal to the length. Okay. If x is greater than 0, we can deal with -1 if x is less than seat states dot length. So x is going to be the length of the inner arrays. So if you imagine that, if you look over here, you imagine that this is x is going to be the dimension across these rows. So what we want to see is if x is -1, then we're going backwards this way to the left, and if x is 1, then we're going to the right. So we want to check if we're greater than the length of, or greater than or equal to the length of the inner array. So if it's less than the length of the inner array, then x jitters can get 1. Do the same thing for y, basically. But this is for the outer array because y is going down this direction here. So -y is upwards, +y is downwards. And hello, I've got some people hanging out and watching me. If you want to say hi in chat, feel free to. I do have chat on another monitor. So we've got y going up. So y is this way. So this builds up our array of jitters that we're going to use for counting. Then we're going to, basically I need to iterate through each one. I know there's probably a better way of doing this in Ruby, but I am not thinking of it at the moment. And this might be more readable than other options as well. So just for each one, if seat states xjit, if so one or the other of xjit needs to not equal to 0 or yjit needs to not equal to 0. So that way we're not counting the seat. And this two seat states together are equal to an occupied seat, which is a hash. Then we count it with occupied seat states plus equals 1. I know this is a little bit like coding Ruby like C, but this is just what's coming to mind, and it's easier to code for me. Okay. And then we return the occupied adjacent seats. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to map. We're going to map this function across all of the seats in. We're going to map this function across all the seats in the input array just to see if it works, which should be all zeros, but hopefully we don't get any errors or anything like that. So let's start with so it's just an array of characters. So a single line.map. Except I actually need the indexes, don't I? Is there a map with index in Ruby? I feel like map with index needs to exist, right? How to map with index in Ruby? Each with index calls without a block, returns an enumerator. Oh, so you could do something like array.each with index.map across this. That's cool. I did not know that. See, this is why you learn. That is some fancy Ruby BS. Count occupied adjacent seats xy. So our end result is also going to be something like this, to be clear. And let's see what it looks like. Nothing. Oh, because I didn't put counts. Puts counts, I suppose. Everything's 2. Well, that's not good. How did they get 2? Probably because I didn't use proper parentheses. Undefined method for nil class. Oh, that's not good. That means that that the x jitters and y jitters are not correct. I suppose there's probably a way of doing this in a better debug mode. X, Y, X jitter, Y jitter. So for 0, 0, I should be able to jitter to 1, 0. Yes, that makes sense. Undefined method for nil class. Suppose I have to do debugging. Okay. Next. Can't escape from eval with next. I feel like there's something that's wrong with my setup if it's not allowing me to just like continue. I think it was the third one that was having problems with. Yeah. Yjet is 0. Seat states. So it should be x10. How is seat states a single L? Oh, I passed in only the single L. That's why I didn't pass in the full. This needs to be all of those things. Yay, coding. All right. And now everything is 0 as expected, and I went through all of these jitters here, so I could see that it looks like it's going through each section. Okay. So what we actually want to do is for a new seat state, we want to count equals this. If seat states x, y is equal to a dot, then it's a floor. Then we just return the dot. Else, if count is equal to, what are the exact rules? It becomes occupied at 4 or more. If it's empty and there's nothing next to it, it becomes occupied. If count is equal to 0 and seat x, y. I suppose I should have saved the state. Return occupied, else and if it's greater than, and there's 4 more seats adjacent to it, so count is greater than or equal to 4, and state is equal to occupied, return unoccupied, and then end that block, end that block. And I know you don't necessarily need the return here, but I'm just typing it out anyway because I can. I think it's clearer to have returns in there. I understand if other people disagree with me, but that's how I am. Okay, so this is... So what we want is to then run new seat state as long as seat state is not changing. So old save the old seat states. We want to map new seat state. Oh, I got rid of my... God darn it! I got rid of the iteration that I actually wanted. cross line dot each with index dot map seat. We don't actually need that. We just need the x coordinates. And then we do new seat state, passing in the seat states x, y. And then we should be able to come on. There we go. Okay. I don't know what buttons I pressed. Puts seat states dot count, or not count. I want some seat states for each line dot count if c if for a particular state, if state is equal to a hash. And let's see what I get. Unexpected do, expecting end of input. Yeah, well, you guess you don't get do while loops in Ruby, do you? I suppose I can just use the done, like a little done flag or something. Oh, you do like a loop, the loop keyword? Okay, so loop do break if end. Sure, syntax, sure, I can do a different syntax for this. Undefined method for nil class in line 49. That's line 7. Is there a way to have it, I want to have pry execute when an exception happens. This is cute. This is just so many non-base Ruby things. I guess I could do try. It's like try rescue or something, right? I think that's it. So I want to do try. Is it try rescue maybe? So try this rescue. It's been a while since I've done Ruby exception handling. Should definitely do better. Begin rescue. Okay. And this is saying line 7 was when the one that failed. New seat state. Yep. So at 10-0 for the seat states, which are, oh, new lines, crap. That's why. Input dot map 71. Well, that's not correct, but it's funny to think about. Did I infinite loop it on accident? I probably infinite looped it on accident. I suppose what I actually need to do is just keep an old seed count, right? Do -do. 9. That's not right either. What did I get a message about? Okay. Something useless. 9 isn't right either, so I need to figure out what seed state is at this moment. But it does matter what the state is. The count can't just not change, because you can get from 9 on one seat, and then 3 people can get up and 3 people can leave. So I really do need to compare to check if 2 things are equal, which is annoying. Still having the function to count is probably useful for later. But this isn't... That's an infinite loop if they're equal to each other. Old seed states equals this. Get the new seed states, check if they're equal. I guess I need to... I need to figure out if there's a way of doing deep equality for arrays in Ruby. I don't actually want set. I don't want sorted. If they contain the same number of elements and if each element is equal according to equals. I don't have a good visualization as part of the problem here. Okay, so that's... So everything's occupied at the moment. Now, a bunch of things are unoccupied. Count occupied seats. Oops. Okay, then go to the next one. Still 9. But now there's a different set of things that are hashes. Now there's 9, and a different set of things are hashes. Okay, so I have accidentally created an infinite loop because my transitions are incorrect. Okay. What am I doing wrong? I wonder if I've transposed an x and a y somewhere. That's entirely possible. And of course it is. Alright. Yeah, I always forget, but this is the line, this is the row. You never get x and y in that order when you're doing this particular bit of coordinate system. Okay. 9 still? Well, at least it ended this time. So everything's occupied. There's 71 things occupied. Now there's 9 things occupied. They're the things on the left again. Am I overwriting 4, by the way, with that? Yes. Am I? No. I at least managed to not overwrite floor. But then all the other... How does this match up with what the expectations are? So this one, after the second round, all of these, but there's some on the right that should also be unoccupied. With 4 or more occupied adjacencies, right? Which is occupied here. But these are becoming unoccupied again, for some reason. So this one up here should still be occupied. Should still be occupied after. Let's do this with 2 rows. We don't even need all the rows to get a simulation, right? Because I should be able to simulate just the top row and look at how that behaves. Everything is occupied. There's 16 states. Go to the next thing. Only that one remains occupied, but it should have been... This one remains occupied because there's only 3 occupied seats next to it. But in my code, it becomes unoccupied. Why? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is spot 9 in the coordinate system. So let's do break if x equals 9. Let's do that. Oh, not even break. I want... God damn it. Binding up right. So at this point, everything is occupied, which is basically good. At this point, those seed states are still everything that they should expect. X, Y. Why isn't my pry doing step and next? Do I need like a pry nav or something like that? I wonder if I can install pry nav on my computer. All right. Excuse us while we find more while we make more dependencies for ourselves. Because that's how programming works. All right, all these are getting installed. Unable to activate pry nav because it conflicts with pry. Is there like an implicit gem file now? All I want is just to freaking run code. Is it not that hard? And debug it. Do I have bundle installed? Okay, at least I have bundle installed. Maybe version. Okay, this is 2.7. What I actually want is to do Ruby 3, I guess Ruby 2.7.2, gem pry nav. See if I can force it to. Now I can do this, bundle install. Can this now run the thing I want? No. Can I pry lock to 0.12.2? This is like tilde arrow, right? I haven't written gem files by hand in a little bit, so this is just me trying to remember how this all works. Okay, so why isn't it using the gem files from... So can I... How do I force it to use these gems then? Because now I have bundles that are definitely not installed, so now I'm just confused. I guess I need a rake file, huh? Right? I shouldn't really know all this stuff. We did a bunch of it at Stripe. Bundle exec Ruby blah. Okay. Eval may not return location and binding. Use bindings first. Instead, okay. Thank God. Yay! Okay. Now I can actually do the debugging I want to. Oh my gosh. Alright. What's my count? 4. Why is my count 4? It's probably counting itself still somehow, isn't it? Mm. Well, I suppose there's one way to find out, huh? Now that's 3. Okay, so it is counting itself. Why? Nope. There we go. Okay. We don't need that one. Don't want there yet. Don't want there yet. Now we're back here again. Okay. Oh, I did x is 0, not x is 9. Oops. Okay. Get past that. Get past that. Get past this. Get past to here. X jitters. Y jitters. Wait, X is 9 and Y is 0. That's not good. There shouldn't be a jitter backwards for... There should be a jitter there should not be a jitter forward for X at this point, right? Seat states 0 dot length is 10. That should be a -1. So I want to detect a point at the boundary. And it's probably doing something weird where it like wraps around or something silly. Okay. Four. Oh, right, because I modified the input. $17. Is that correct? No. Well, let's give it the old college try. One, two, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so all of these are at the edges. So something still seems off about the middle characters. Because there's too many unoccupied seats in the middle, right? Hmm. Okay. This is a boundary, this is a boundary, this is a boundary, this is a boundary. For each one of these, if both of these are, if at least one of these is non-zero, and and this is a hash, then add one to the occupied seats. Current state is yx. If the count is 0, and state is empty, return occupied. If the count is greater than or equal to 4, and the state is occupied, return unoccupied, otherwise return the same state. So what's an empty spot? 2, 2, I think? 0, 1, 2? Yeah. Why is that true? That's count occupied adjacent for 2, 2 is 4. Why is that? Because I'm not actually using jitter, am I? God damn it. Wow, I'm so bad. Alright. Moving on with things. That makes way more sense. Now there's 37. Okay. Get rid of this binding.pry. Run on the actual input. $24.81. That sounds like a proper answer. Yay! Okay, part 2. Let's go. Woohoo! That was almost an hour of coding, right? How long have I been live? I'll look for it later. Okay. As soon as people start to arrive, you realize a mistake. They don't care about adjacent seat, they care about the first seat they can see in each of the 8 directions. Consider the first seat in each of those. What? Yay! Thank you, Alicia. Oh my god, okay. I basically got the code factored right. I just need to change this count method, and this is 5. Okay. If this loop do. Okay. Okay, so if it's occupied, increment the occupied count, break. If it's unoccupied, uh, just break. If y plus yjit is less than 0, or if is less than 0, or is greater than, because these jitters are basically a coordinate direction, they're a vector. So we're gonna keep on adding the same vector over and over again to the y coordinates over time. Okay, so we got the new y, we got the new x. If it's empty, then we break. If it's occupied, then we add one, we break. And then if new x is less than 0 or new x is greater than seat states 0 dot length. So if it's out of, if the new x is out of the array or the new y is out of the array, then we break. And at the very end, new x plus equals xjit, new y plus equals yjit. So just keep searching in those directions until you get to the end and 5. So if we start with this, (26) occupied seats. Come on, don't be an infinite loop. 2227. Come on, just be right. Okay. you know, you know how it is. You spend what, more than an hour on the first part and then 5 minutes on the second part? Yay, we did day 11. Okay. Let's do day 12. Fairy made decent progress towards the island, but the storm came in faster than expected. It needs to take evasive actions. Fortunately, the ship's navigation computer seems to be malfunctioning. Rather than giving a route directly to safety, Kapi produced extremely circuitous directions, and the captain used the PA system to ask if anyone can help. You quickly volunteer. The navigation instructions consist of a sequence of secret character action paired with integer input values. After staring input at them, you work out what they probably mean. North, south, east, west, turn left, turn right, forward the given value based on the ship is facing. Start out facing east, only L and R change the direction your ship is facing. Okay. At the end of this instruction, the ship's Manhattan distance is 25. Figure out where the navigation instructions lead. What's Manhattan distance from that location, the starting location? And the starting location is 0, 0, I suppose. Okay. I hope that this next one isn't that bad, given that how my usual MO works. Alright. This doesn't actually seem that bad, given my usual txt. For example, this. I'm wondering how part 2. So the first one, part 1 was hard, part 2 was easy. The second one, this one, I'm guessing that part 2 might be hard. I'm not sure. And then make sure that we change the 11 to a 12. So what's the ship state? The ship state is it's an enum of north, south, east, or west. So direction x, y. Okay, so just reading through this, F10 would move the ships 10 units east because you start out east to east 10, north 0. I'm going to say that east is positive x and that north is positive y, just to make my life easier. Then N3 would move the ships. Oh, I should definitely restart my recording.